I'm Alex. I'm one of the guitarists of Nekrogoblikon. We'll be touring with Alestorm in Australia at the end of February through the beginning of March.
Beautiful, mate. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So, as you say, Nekrogoblikon tour Australia for the first time ever next year, supporting Alestorm for a run of shows starting on February 25th in Fremantle, then going to Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, and finishing in Brisbane on March the 4th. So, the first point of order, I guess, mate, is why have you neglected us for so long?
It's not on purpose. I promise that. We've been talking about it forever. And it's been something that we've tried to make happen. There's been a few times there were tentative plans, and then some kind of logistical nightmare occurred or something. So luckily this time we finally our team was persistent this time. Like, we have to get you guys out there, and so they were in touch with a promoter in Australia, and promoter already had Alestorm coming in, and was like, "You guys want to play with Alestorm?" We're like, "Yes, that's perfect. We played with those guys before. We know those shows go well, and yeah, so perfect way for us to do Australia for the first time is with another kind of a fun, like-minded band.
Yeah.
So yeah, very excited. But we already I already feel like we'll be coming back more often after this. I think we have to kind of come and show promoters that people in Australia really want to come see some Goblin metal.
Hell yeah. So, for your first time in a new country with something like this, mate, like, do you do your research on what you expect? Do you talk to other bands that have been here, or do you rather come in cold and just see what happens?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I feel like I sometimes, yeah, look at online at stuff that's, in if it's a country I've never been to, kind of look at, what stuff is around. But then I kind of stop myself, and then just, partially due to ADD and partially due to and partially due to I do kind of like just jumping into something fresh at the same time. I do kind of like I like not being prepared to a certain extent when it comes to kind of experiencing things for the first time. I like to kind of just just let it happen, see, be surprised.
Yeah. And what about from Australian fans and Australian crowds? Are you coming in with any expectations?
So our drummers played. Our drummer Eric also has an act called. It was a one-man act called Rainbow Dragon Eyes, and that he toured with Alestorm
Okay.
in Australia before, and he has us hyped on it. He's mentioned that the crowds are energetic and fun, and it's every show is a party is how he described it, and I'm very excited for that. As someone who's never been to the country before myself, very excited to play the shows. Um, had a couple other interviewers mentioned we should check out the beaches and the wildlife. So if there's any time in between shows to go check that out, we definitely want to make that a priority.
That's right. And on the flip side of that, bro, like, we got no idea what to expect from you either. So, what do we expect from a Nekrogoblikon live show?
Well, one, there will be a goblin there.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. Good start.
um, it's uh, I think Dickie, our vocalist, mentioned he said when people asked him when he joined the band, like, what is what's a Nekrogoblikon show like? He said it's like death metal, but it's a party. And I felt like that was a really good sum up of it. It's it's high energy, it has all the things you want from metal. It's got the blast beats, it's got the rolling double kicks, it's got shredding, got screaming. But we make everything fun. It's like we equally make it like a dance party, and it's we a lot of crowd participation, a lot of just like it's half party, half metal band essentially.
That sounds good to me. Now, you sort of mentioned this before, but like Alestorm are known as a bit of a party band, and you guys are known as a good time band. So, how important is it to get that right on tour? Like, you don't want a too serious band going on with a party band, I guess. Like, you got to that dynamics off stage and on stage has got to coexist, doesn't it?
Ideally, when you can pair up fun bands together, it's always great because then it's just one big fun show. But I've also, because there's not as many fun bands as serious bands, we've done most of our touring with serious bands, and it still goes over great because we're still that like bit of a refreshment in the middle of the show. When we were coming up and opening a lot of shows or being in the middle of packages and stuff. We kind of we're this little like all right, it's getting really serious and metal, and then there's the fun band, and then back to the, it kind of sparses the evening up a little bit. uh, a Nekrogoblikon live show is it's one part metal show and on one part fucking party is the show. It's we're doing everything a metal band does. We're playing our parts. We're actually playing them, and are in but all and along with that we have our bodacious frontman John Goblikon, uh you know uh now on the mic along with Dickie Allen, leading a goblin party throughout the entire show. And that's it's equal parts both. Where just as much as we want you to mosh, we also want you to dance. And we have every part of a metal show still part of it, but every part of it is just a wild celebration of being fucking weirdos. Is how I how would I call it?
No, you do it then, and as the name suggests, goblins do play a large part in the show. So run us through that a bit more. Like people that aren't familiar with your music might just see the film clips and the goblins here and there, but it's actually a massive part of what you do.
Yeah, it's and it's all, and this all stemmed, from back in 2006, just starting a band with the pure intention of like how funny it would be to make a band that's only about goblins, right? And then no one had any idea that there was no attempt, at least at the time, in that, to make this a career or anything like that. It was made and again, it was like the idea, the funny idea, like we wanted to have fun doing it, but we never lost seriousness as musicians. We always were like, well, no, we want this to be like really good, and we want it to be fun and weird, but like we want to, like, we're gonna put like the straight faced effort into this as any serious metal band would. They're put the same amount of hours. We're not like we didn't service the funny part of it harder than we serviced the musician side of it, and that was really important to us in the beginning. And then fast forward to 2012, and we've moved to LA, and we played a show, and we're still not a big band. We had a little bit of MySpace buzz. Played a show, and my coworker came, and he brought his friend named Brandon Dermer, who was at that time just started up and coming director, who saw the show, and there was maybe like 10 people there, and he like came up to me afterwards and was like, "This is the fucking greatest thing I've ever seen. I don't see how this is not packed. I love that you guys are just normal guys and just like having fun, and like I have to do some kind of video for you." And that's when John Goblikon was born, a specific character that's played by Dave Rispoli. And so that, we made that video. We pulled every favor we could to make this video happen. Like every single, we used our own money. We was like, got really scrappy with it, and everyone who was on board believed in it. And that video, it depicts a day in the life goblin, not a goblin in a fantastical world, but he's just a goblin who's just another guy with a job who smokes weed and drinks a little too much and hates his job and is nervous at work, doesn't feel like he fits in with anyone else there, has a little crush on a girl, but he's this goblin, and he's seeing the world through these eyes. And that video took off, and suddenly we're like, this is what we're about. We're about this, both that feeling, that being an outcast character, being weird, a goblin, having humor to it, but having this not just fantastical element, but like it's a goblin living in our world. He's outside of what makes him comfortable. He's had to create places that make him comfortable, like now a podcast we have, and now we have and this goblin has seen success from this video and is now has a bit of an ego and is stoked to be a singer. But it's really on top of being about goblins, it's become about this goblin specifically and his view of reality. And the band, through the band, we express that in music, through the podcast, and through film and whatnot. We express that through video, but it all comes back to that character.
Oh, very cool. So now it's a global success. Have you sent the feelers out to try and find a real goblin to come in?
I mean, we've sent. I mean, we're our door's always open for a real goblin to come in, but I think it's uh, John Goblikon is as far as we know the only goblin that exists on Earth, and he's dying to find more, I'm sure. But
Your music, it's very tongue in cheek and lighthearted. It's refreshing in the modern age of music that's, in my opinion, becoming way too sanitized. Like have you
oh
over
yeah,
the years have you had to adjust what you do so you don't offend people?
if anything, I think we've only gotten more offensive. Like honestly, like yeah, we've all and obviously we want to be tasteful, so we never want to be offensive for the sake of being offensive. But if something's really funny, we're and like it's like yeah, that's fucking hilarious. Like we all agree it's funny, like we're doing it. Like if people can get offended by anything. We know we're not full of hate. And we don't really we don't yeah we're not yeah, we're not ever trying to be fringe humor in any way. We do what makes us laugh, and that's the most important thing. Is like we find this funny, so we're doing it, and it's like for the shows when we're on tour, like it's John's out there, he's saying what he finds funny at every moment, and there's no like official script for the show. We have some things we say, but like it's a lot of stuff that we'll see something silly in a city on our way in, and suddenly that is the only thing we'll talk about the whole show is and we like to make this show like specific to this. So we're gonna come out to Australia in just over a month and like month and a half, and yeah, so we're gonna roast your country for sure. Or your continent, sorry.
So you don't do a Jack Black and go too far, mate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, see that's we have no interest in talking politics. It's overdone anyways. It's not even something we care about to talk about. That's like no, we're keeping it clean, but keeping it biting. Like yeah.
A lot of people do focus on the live show and the goblin aspect of it, but musically, like you blend melodic rock, there's death metal, there's EDM in there. Like it's stuff that really, on paper, should not work together. Like, how do you get it all together to make it work?
It honestly it comes from us liking all those genres, all these different genres, all these different genres of metal by itself, on top of EDM and everything else, and some pop even. And ultimately at this point it's kind of been established, but it kind of in the beginning it was just organic, and it if it didn't fit we wouldn't do it, but it worked. There was a desire to put it in there. It's still, the songs always have a strong melodic structure, so no matter what genre we're invoking with a part, we're keeping it within parameters of a song, that like we don't do random tempo changes. Our key changes are meticulously crafted. We want every part going into each other to feel seamless and be like, and have it be like, wow, why does that work? And we put a lot of effort into making that work, into making it so you're not like, you're so bobbing your head, you're not like scratching like, what are they doing now? It's like yeah, maybe a lot of surprises, like, whoa, what did they do there? But nothing that we not want everything to pass the head bob test. You got to still be rocking with it. If we're working on a song, we're listening, and then the head bobbing stops, or like we're just kind of like, then it's like, all right, this one's not making the cut. It's
That's sort of my next question. Like in that creative process, like how do you decide when you've gone too far in one direction or not far enough in the other? Is it just a head bob thing? You're just watching people's heads?
a lot of it's going with your gut. It's that feels right. I love it. And it's not thinking too hard. The biggest thing we don't want to think about is like, is this metal enough, or is this fitting of some genre enough? That's not even what our fans want from us anyways. Like they like what we're doing, so we're like, let's like, when we like what we're doing, so let's keep doing that. And it naturally is evolving, but it's not really like intentional. It's just it's what we feel like doing, and we seem to agree on what parts are strong and what parts need work, and then when part needs work, we get to work on it. And And if the song's good enough, then it sees the light of day, and if it's not, it doesn't. And that's that's the process.
But now, I wish life was that simple.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, yeah. It's. I mean, it gets complex sometimes, but yeah, it compared to the rest of life, just making weird goblin music is actually pretty simple.
Speaking of music, mate, like your last album, The Fundamental Slimes and Humors, came out in 2022. So we've just hit 2025, mate. You have to have some new stuff on the horizon.
Yeah, we're actually tracking vocals in the next couple weeks with Dickie and John. And so we have a bunch of songs ready. We're putting they're gonna finish vocals on them. We're gonna start to you might see them come online in the next couple months or so, but I can't get too specific about that just yet. So
You just want another excuse to talk to me in a couple of months, say you?
oh yeah. Once they come out, hit me up again. We'll talk about we'll talk about the song.